Hi everybody, Attorney Joan Wilson. I'm here to talk to you about the myths and misconceptions of Medicare and Medicaid. We're on month number 2, and this month the myth that I am busting is right here on my list, which says, if I transfer my assets to my spouse, I can qualify for Medicaid because the assets are not in my name anymore. This is untrue. Medicaid in Connecticut pays for long-term care services both at home under the Connecticut Home Care Program for Elders and in a skilled nursing facility. And in order to qualify for Medicaid to pay for those services, the applicant has to have less than $1,600 in his or her name in their assets. But if the applicant is married, then the state looks at the assets of both the applicant and their spouse. So it does not matter whether that spouse has taken all of the assets into his or her name. The state is still going to look at that and factor that into the calculation. Now, when there is a couple involved, you don't have to spend completely down to $1,600 for both parties. The state does recognize that the spouse who's not applying for Medicaid still needs to have some assets to live off of. But there's a kind of a complicated calculation that goes into it. So all of the assets of both the applicant and his or her spouse are added up and divided in two. One half is considered the applicant's and one half is considered their spouse's. The applicant has to spend down his or her half down to that $1,600 level, and the spouse is allowed to keep his or her one half up to about $130,000. So if his or her one half exceeds that $130,000, then there is a spend down on the spouse's side as well. Now, there are ways that we can preserve a lot of those assets for the spouse, but that's the simple calculation of what the state looks at. If you or a loved one is facing expensive long-term care, it's really important to get some assistance with that because, like I said, there are a lot of things that we can do to help preserve assets for the spouse who's not applying. And there are things that are wiser to spend the money on if you do have a spend down, rather than simply spending it all on the care. So please give us a call if you or a loved one is facing the need for long-term care. We can assess the situation. We can review the assets with you, review the current needs, and really determine with you if and when we can qualify that person for Medicaid and preserve as much as possible for the spouse who's staying at home so they don't feel like they have nothing to live on after they've saved all this money. Thank you.